Donc voilà, maintenant je sais comment ça s'écrit. Pour la troisième aventure, j'essayerai de pas faire full titre.
The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had
Donc en fait, on va pas faire le truc avec le gamin. Le gamin, on pouvait pas le sauver dans tous les cas.
Surely the weapon that banished the lost gods could defeat the Emperor. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Emperor had brought the Sky Ripper pieces up out of ancient burial by his obscene rituals. Could this be where the Iblis stone was hidden? Someone better get it before he does, thought Renato. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Lapino was no game changer, but could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
On va essayer de fabriquer le Sky Ripper.
Every child knew about the Sky Ripper. The Transcendent Emperor had buried its pieces. What could have brought them to light? This Emperor, Isengrim III, had once been kind, but he'd gone mad. And now he was conducting secret, obscene rituals to bring back the lost gods. Had he, somehow, summoned the long-lost components of the legendary weapon out of the deep places of the earth? It was more than Renato could fathom. But if he could find a legendary weapon, he would use it.
Donc du coup, on est parti. Après on aura un autre truc de Sky Reaper. Et après je pense qu'on ira dans le temple pour le Sky Reaper. Et après il y aura le dernier choix. Comme d'hab quoi. Enfin comme d'hab. Il y avait eu 4 choix non dans l'aventure 1. J'en sais rien. Mais bon on est parti. Et le nom je me suis bien fail. Je regarde le titre du truc. Alors c'est Stories de... alors passe, c'est pas SS, c'est TH, off, de destini, je sais pas pourquoi je l'ai écrit comme ça, parce que c'était logique, c'est très logique, ça s'écrit pas comme ça, c'est logique, D-E-S-T-I-N-I-E-S, D-I-S-T-I-N-I, apostrophe S, l'apostrophe c'est le E, quoi, c'est pour abréger.
As he set foot on the island, Renato could not help but feel a tinge of guilt. He'd left Lapino behind. He hoped the Mad Rabbit had somehow escaped the Ravens. He hoped they hadn't eaten him. If they had, he hoped they hadn't eaten him alive. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? Renato never made plans that required constant vigilance. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out. The Sky Ripper was a long shot. He'd have to devote himself to it. No side journeys, no rescuing old friends. That was against his nature. Could he stick with it?
Ouais, on va se tenir à ça. Donc on doit obtenir l'armature du Sky Reaper. Après il y aura le noyau du Sky Reaper. Puis ensuite le dernier truc pour fabriquer le Sky Reaper. Je crois qu'on a trouvé, hein. Ah non, il y a des petites créatures là.
Sleep tight, thought Renato.
C'est pas hyper dur, t'attends. Il se retourne, lui et lui. Et là tu vas tcha.
The people who had built this castle, did they even know what monstrous weapon lay hidden within their walls? The Sky Ripper could destroy anything it touched, or so the legend said. As the Transcendent Emperor had fought the lost gods, thousands and thousands had died. But Renato had been through wars. The only merciful war was a short one.
Donc c'est sûr que ça pourrait être pratique contre les mecs au bouclier, mais bon les mecs au bouclier on les a pas encore trouvés, c'est pas mal loin. Ensuite on peut s'améliorer le speed.
Nice. That could be useful.
Ah j'en ai encore un point. Ah oui, c'est un peu plus rapide. Cool. Parce qu'après tout, si on va tous se les faire, hein, autant être le plus rapide que possible, le plus vite que possible, pour gagner le plus de temps possible. Ah non, il y a déjà des... Le truc qu'il faut faire à tout prix, c'est le tuer, lui. Ça, après, il n'y en a pas d'autres qui l'arrivent.
Sometimes, at home, he'd wave his sword around for hours.
Bah, il devait bien s'ennuyer, hein, chez lui, les amis de famille, comme il disait. Petit coffre. Ok, je m'attendais pas à ça, mais bon. Une essence de vent. Il me manque un essence de feu, je crois, je peux me craft l'épée enflammée. La vidéo à propos du ski repair est enveloppée dans un... E.T. E.T. Non, t'es hanté. Paris, un crime 3. Oh super, il y a des journaux secrets. Ah mais c'est trop bien. Du coup on va devoir tous refaire. Après quand on aura toutes les épées pour y trouver les journaux secrets. Là on n'a pas la bonne épée quoi.
Anyone ever tell you have a lovely eye? No? Ah, je peux pas retourner en arrière. Ah non, mais pour l'instant, j'avais tué tous mes ennemis et puis là, je n'ai loupé deux. Enfin, bon, c'est pas grave. Ah, a puzzle. Renata loved puzzles. Except we couldn't figure them out. On the other hand, if there was a puzzle, it was probably meant to keep people away from something good.
Tu n'étais pas très compliqué. Ok, donc ça c'est pas la fin du casse-tête, c'est juste un truc caché. Good. Oh, avec un essence de pain.
Renato smash.
Quoi? Renato smash. Super. Bon bah voilà. Super dur ton casse-tête. De toute façon, il y a quoi de ce côté-là? Ici, il n'y a rien, ici, il n'y a rien. Ici, il y a une boule de feu, ok. Sauf qu'il me manque un truc de feu et la table, je peux mettre pour la craft. C'est m'énerve, j'arrive pas à voir en fait. En haut, normalement, il y a un truc qui te dit à où t'en es, ta jauge de speed comme ça. Mais je peux pas la voir.
A chest that shiny deserved to be opened.
Ouais. Je sais pas trop ce que ça fait là. Je prends tous les chemins pour aller ouvrir ces petits coffres là. Ça, je pourrais bientôt me craft une nouvelle épée. On avance, on avance. Ah, c'est ça, on l'a vu en image.
Sky Ripper's armature. The stuff that dreams are made of. Dreams, anyway. The device was intricate. No one alive had the skill to make a thing like it. How was it part of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece. Sky Ripper had a heart. A core that had come to rest on the next island. Well, there was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it?
Ouais, on
He
a
didn't
dit.
need to hurry to
On fait
face
que
her.
la quête. On fait pas
She
les
would
autres
find
trucs
him.
comme ça.
It was a no-brainer. He'd sacrificed his old friend Lapino to get the armature. And the armature was useless by itself, only a series of coils and wheels. War demanded sacrifices, and he would make more before the end. He would have to choose the greatest good, no matter how much it cost him. Zenobia. Well, he would see her sooner or later, across the battlefield or a sword's point before all this was over.
À mon
He was
côté
sure of that.
général.
The power was in the core. Obviously, he had to get the core.
Ouais, puis il y a encore ces temples ensablés là qu'on n'a pas fait, qu'on fera après. Ou alors on ira sauver Lapino encore et on essayera de pas l'interroger à Zenobia, de pas l'emmener parce que bon, la base rebelle qui a explosé du coup. Mais genre c'est trop bien. On doit tout
Doubt
faire.
sunk in before he was even out of sight of the Farfarer. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? It was the sort of path he'd always avoided. The path of responsibility, of seriousness. Had he grown up? He didn't feel grown up. He'd made this decision from his gut, like he always did. Somehow, he'd impulsively decided to stop being impulsive. Did
Oh, il y a
that
ce
make any
truc dans
sense?
les airs. C'est marrant quand même, il nous suit.
Whee!
Il y a encore un petit minerai. On est au sein de minerai du coup. Alors attends juste 2 secondes avant de sauter dans un puits comme ça. Ouais voilà. Il y a un coffre. T'as dit d'arrêter de faire des trucs sur un coup de tête. Alors d'abord on explore tout. Et maintenant tu sais qu'il faut sauter. Bon. Ouais, comme t'atterris avec la chute, elle a l'air bien. T'as l'air d'avoir très beaucoup chuté. Très bas. Très tombé bas. Alors que bon. Encore un peu de minerai.
There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time.
J'adore quand t'expliques des trucs comme ça là. D'ailleurs, il n'y a pas de boss dans ce jeu. J'ai l'impression. Ok, bon bah ça vole un petit peu ces planchettes.
It made him a little nervous, like a slide at the end you couldn't see.
Ah merde, j'ai barré son attaque. Bon, on y a l'épée comme ça pendant qu'il m'approchait plus de le finir. Autrement, ça va
There were
très bien
fewer
comme ça.
and fewer trees. There were only these huge crystalline growths. Had those been here before? He no longer heard birds except for the feverish cawing of the ravens when they attacked. He couldn't smell the small animals of the forest, the mice and rabbits. Where had they gone? And he was getting hungry too. This was an unhealthy place to be.
Ce que j'aimerais bien voir en fait c'est ça. Non. Ça. Parce que sinon ça va être un peu dur maintenant qu'on peut en trouver. Là cette épée elle est pratique, hein, sinon comme de la vie. Voilà. Alors là, je te laisse plier.
Personal space?
J'ai plus de vie. Et on y est.
The 20-sided core made him feel physically sick. Once he had sneaked into a temple of the dark arts, and he hadn't liked what he smelt and saw there. This felt like that. As quick as he could, he wrangled the icosahedron into the armature. The wheels began to spin, then glow. The sick feeling quickly spun away. Now he only felt sad. He had lost good friends for this war apparatus. He carried his prize back to the Farfarer. Now, he had to make his next move. There was a key Imperial outpost on the Nexus. If this really was some sort of super weapon, he could use it to wreak havoc on the enemy. And if it wasn't, well, better to know that before the final battle. But maybe he should show it to some scientists first. There was an observatory on the Nexus. Maybe he should go there before he fired it. Of course. If you've just assembled a weapon out of legend that can exile gods from the world, you'd want to have a scientist or two look at it. And even if they disagreed and he had time, he could ask Calaveras himself. Yes, the observatory would be his objective.
Bah oui, Calavera, il est dans ce jeu, il est partout. Ok, j'ai trop joué à Grim Fandango, moi. À force de speedrun, tu le vois partout, Calavera. Tu vois partout des dominos qui se font broyer, tu vois partout des gens charmés. Cool, un hôtel.
Why had the parts of the Sky Ripper only surfaced now, thousands of years after the Transcendent Emperor had dismantled it? The mad Emperor Isengrim had performed terrible, bloodthirsty rituals to invoke the lost gods. Was that why these ancient artifacts were rising out of the ground? How perfect, then, that the Sky Ripper would reappear to be his destruction.
C'est très bien, du coup.
What were these poles, exactly? Parking meters from the time of the lost gods?
Mais en fait, on va aller à la base, là, avant qu'elle n'explose, parce que la dernière fois, la base avait explosé. Bon, dès que je trouve un hôtel, je comptais me prendre le truc du grappin, là, parce que les mecs... sinon, c'est un peu chaud de tout le temps leur balancer.
Bernard had been the terror of the sandcastles when he was two.
Non mais pourquoi ils disent ça? Déjà c'est chez nous. Il n'y a plus rien à manger. Voilà le petit achat.
actually.
Ok, 57 points de vie. Non, mais je peux trop bien de là.
A legendary weapon was exactly what the rebellion needed. They were outnumbered. The once kind emperor had become a tyrant. But his ravens stayed loyal, for he fed them his victims, and the other animals were too frightened to rebel. Renato shuddered at what the emperor was trying to do. To bring back the lost gods, a black harvest, the black sun? No.
Je
He would
pense qu'il y a un
stop
truc
that
plus
toad
radical,
no
ça se
matter
trouve
what
pour
the
les
risk.
affronter. Oh, ce serait tellement bien. Voilà, on se prend ce téléporteur. J'espère ne ramène pas un endroit où on est déjà passé, mais qui va plutôt nous amener à un autre endroit. Donc là, on va chez les scientifiques. Non, non, le coffre. Non. Ah tiens, on ne peut pas passer ici. Non, peut-être pas. Pas sûr.
Renato's path was clear. Let the scientists ensure the Sky Ripper was safe to use, bring it to the rebel base, and then assault the Imperial fleet for the win.
C'est un peu trop simple. Ils sont quasiment tous à la moitié de leur truc.
No skateboarding, the sign said.
Ah oui. Ah ok. J'ai compris, j'ai compris. Faut juste ne pas cramer quoi. Là j'ai le chaud là. Bon encore c'est limite. Limite tout ça.
Some people were just liable to explode if you upset them.
Quoi?
I think this is yours, said Renato. But he couldn't hear his enemy's answer.
Aussi s'ils explosent comme ça, voilà, c'est pas très compliqué, attends. C'est cool, en fait ça nous aide je pense. Enfin, ça pourrait tout aussi bien ne pas du tout nous aider. Mais ça peut nous aider. Ça peut, je pense, nous faire très mal si on se fail par contre. Ah, quelle magnifique vue. Mais ici on n'est pas dans la base rebelle. Une fois, il faudrait que j'essaye de faire des choix pour pouvoir aller dans la base rebelle avant qu'elle n'explose. Ah super, ça peut tomber. Et
Renato was thrilled. The scientists seemed to think he'd put the Sky Ripper together right. But one toad was worried.
Yeah, the Sky Ripper could tear a hole in existence itself. There are invisible strings that tie the universe together. If the Sky Ripper cut one, the hole would widen and widen until our whole existence fell into it.
Another toad sighed.
Irving still believes in string theory. At least go see Calaveras.
Yeah, said the worried toad.
He knows more than anyone else has forgotten about the Transcendent
Ok, donc ça peut
Emperor.
vraiment être très
If
dangereux, je pense que bien
anyone
fait.
could tell him how to use this weapon safely, it would be Calaveras. It was he who had told Renato how to find
Ah
it
ouais,
in the
bah
first
Calavera
place.
il fait tout le temps partie de la révolution.
Maybe he had to give up on using it as a weapon. Maybe he had to go to the secret rebel base and ask the generals there what he could do with a weapon that he dared not use.
Enfin, il y a des corbeaux là. Allez, on va voir Calavera, il va nous parler
He should have
d'essentiel
known
tout.
he'd have to consult Calaveras again. The scientists at the observatory were smart enough. But what did they know of the transcendent Emperor? He hoped it wouldn't delay him too long. The rebels had scheduled the final battle soon. Every day they delayed risked the exposure of the secret base. And some soldiers were already drifting back to their homes and families. Calaveras would fix the Sky Ripper for him. And then he would win the final battle.
Ah, ça c'est cool, c'est cool. Je pense qu'on peut quand même avoir plusieurs fins. Mais franchement, là, si le plan fonctionne, mais du coup, si Calavera se fait tuer, on est mal. On est mal. On est très 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 mal. Parce que bon, on devra
Maybe
l'utiliser.
it was the cold. But after a few steps, Renado's optimism started to slump. What if Calaveras couldn't help? Did Renado dare use the Sky Ripper? Oh, he hated that he had chosen this path. It was so much simpler to rescue friends and attack enemies. Even if some of those friends were more trouble than his enemies, some of those enemies had been friends before and might be lovers after. No, okay, it wasn't all that much simpler, no. Physics made his brain hurt. That, at least he was sure of.
Mec, il doit bien souffrir.
What was really fun was hooking yourself onto a moving ship.
Ah, ok, on le prend. Bon, je me suis pris 20 dégâts quand même. Pour 6 de minerais, c'est pas super. Hein. J'ai 130 minerais. Ok, cool.
Renado wondered if he could learn to cook this way. Probably not.
Tiens, d'ailleurs, on n'avait pas pris un truc qui faisait que les coups étaient ralentis à chaque coup, un truc dans le genre. Allez. Tiens, moi je me barre. Il y a un coffre ici. Mais attendez, il y a un coffre. En fait, le match de fois, je le laisse vivre le plus longtemps possible. Et je tente de plutôt le tuer à la fin. Vous voyez, comme ça, il faut faire des dommages.
Tried to focus on the now. The ravens who seemed everywhere all the time. Where did they hatch from? Were there giant raven hatcheries somewhere, or did they have families? Ooh, he didn't want to think about raven mummies raising their darling raven chicks. Calveras would help. He would make Renado feel better about using the Sky Ripper. And then Renado wouldn't have to worry about ravens ever again.
Ce serait trop bien si on pouvait l'utiliser. C'est marrant qu'ils nous suivent comme ça.
Once, he found a Superman issue #1 in mint condition in a jar he'd broken. He planned to keep breaking things until he had the whole series.
Qu'est-ce que tu lui dis? Eh, on sait jamais, on peut peut-être trouver le volume numéro 2 de Superman. Ce cas, c'est quand même assez drôle. Ah, ok, je pense qu'il faut... Ouais.
Hero Wall. Hero Sword. Ice wall. Ice cube.
Ouais, non, mais ça sert à rien, on n'a pas l'épée. On loupe plein de trucs avec ces épées parce qu'on a que l'épée pour avancer dans l'histoire. Du coup, les autres épées, ça nous amène peut-être à des notes du roi là. Tiens, qu'est-ce que j'ai fait? J'ai fait ça et ça c'est cool. Mais maintenant, du coup, on réactive juste pour le fun.
The rebels were counting on Ronaldo. He hoped Calaveras knew what he was doing.
Oh, il a une flèche. Le truc, il a une flèche qui nous dit où aller ou... Il y a des petits lags hein, quand même. Ouh, ça donne pas mal de santé.
Calaveras had never let him down.
Yeah, of course I can make it work better.
But when Ronaldo explained about the strings, Calaveras grew thoughtful.
Oh, strings, you say? Well, the Arcana do speak of the ties that bind the world.
He drew many intricate symbols in the dirt.
Yeah, so, according to my calculations, each time you fire, I'm afraid there's a 1 in 128 chance you'll destroy the universe.
That's pretty good odds. That's like rolling, what, 21 dice and they all come up 6. What are the odds of that?
What? No! It's more like 2.716s in a row.
Anyway, with those odds, it won't happen if I use it just once.
Yeah, no, that's not right. Each time you use it... Okay, look, just don't use it ever.
All right, I guess. As he sailed away from the mountains, Bernardo could see clouds darkening. Rain? No. Ships. Imperial ships, swarming thick as bees. This was it. The big battle. They could not afford to lose this one. What if it did not go well? What if he had to use the Sky Ripper? Could he gamble the universe? On the other hand, what were the odds of rolling 21 sixes in a row?
Ouais, enfin bon, la probabilité, elle est de 2,71. Enfin, je pense que c'est ça qu'il a dit. Ou alors, il faut faire du juste 2,71 fois 6. En gros, que 2, 6 ou 3. Même si on arrondit à 3, 6, c'est possible de faire 3, 6 d'affilée. Ah ouais, bah voilà. Au Monopoly, je crois que tu vas en prison quand tu fais 3, 6 d'affilée. Bah voilà.
The battle was not going spectacularly well. What had the rebels been thinking? They'd been thinking he would bring the Sky Ripper, or the Iblis Stone, or that he'd sideline Zenobia somehow, or turn her. Couldn't he use the Sky Ripper just once? After all, if chances were 1 in 128, that meant he'd for sure be okay the first time. They'd get worse each time he used it, but the first time would be okay, right?
Ouais, peut-être.
He wasn't sure that it was right. So he didn't fire the Sky Ripper. He just brought it along, in case.
Ouais, comme ça on peut les faire flipper là. Ah bah tiens. Ouais, enfin on doit quand même l'utiliser sur l'empereur. Hein.
Once you try it, you're hooked.
Par les attaques et tout. C'est vraiment fun de jouer à ce jeu. Les combats de ce jeu, ils sont tellement fun. Oui, c'est vrai. Il y a toujours ces petits lags. Au moins, je tombe pas dans le vide. Donc on est au même endroit. Je pense que la fin, elle se fera quasiment tout le temps ici.
It was definitely easier to fight inanimate objects.
Non, franchement, je me loupe en combattant les objets inanimés, alors que les objets animés, des fois, moi, je prends bien. Alors que des fois, je les lamine. Yes, je pourrais me craft l'épée de feu quand il y aura un hôtel. Téléportation. Et donc là, je me retéléporte, je pense. Ouais, voilà, ici. Genre ces trucs, je vous dis, c'est tellement pratique. Il m'a tout détruit quoi. Non, cette fois-ci on passe par là.
Snack. He was feeling a bit peckish.
Ouais. Encore du fight, si je me trompe pas. Ouais, voilà. Non, mais parce qu'à la fin, il y a du fight, hein, ça c'est sûr. Et le fight, il commence à devenir de plus en plus dur, là.
Someone had told him the odds didn't change just because you'd had a streak of good luck. His gut told him that was wrong, though. And he always listened to his gut. On the other hand, 128 chances to win. But one of them would destroy the universe. Ooh, that seemed a bit serious. Maybe he could defeat the Emperor without firing the Sky Ripper. Maybe he could bluff, but with a real weapon. Like in cards, when you had 3 knaves, but you pretended you had a fizz-bin. That could work.
Ouais, on va tenter de bluffer, mais sinon on l'utilisera. Bon, son instinct lui dit, faut toujours écouter son instinct. Ouais, aussi je pense que c'est une mauvaise idée. Mais on a... Ouais, bluffé, voilà. Faut bluffer.
There were stickers all over the platform.
On va le détruire si je ne m'abandonne pas. On détruira l'univers. Voilà quoi. What? Oh non, j'ai plus de... Ah, super.
Taylor was going to charge for all the holes in his clothes.
Bon, après on aura la bataille finale et là pour la bataille finale on est mal. 48 de vie. Plus d'énergie de cette épée. Notre seule épée d'ailleurs. On est mal. Mais bon, tiens, on pouvait aller là aussi, j'avais pas remarqué. La dernière fois, on était parti par là-bas. Non, moi je vais tout simplement partir ici. On va pas au même endroit qu'on avait fini là-bas. Maintenant, moi je pense finir par ici. Oh non, super. Qu'est-ce qu'il fait encore? encore faire un seul fight. Oh non, celui-là.
He set up the Sky Ripper and let it warm up. He would bluff if he had to. Zenobia came out, flanked by a very daunting platoon of ravens. You won't actually use that, she said in that annoying, I know everything because I'm a cat and you know nothing because you're just a fox voice she had. Or I know the odds. Good, because there's a real chance you could destroy the universe. No, not the first time I use it. The odds are too low. What? No? Yeah, sure. The first time, the odds are practically nothing. They only go up if I use it a bunch more times. No, but that's not how odds work. Didn't you pay attention in class? Now surrender, or I'll use it. Just once, he said. Don't.
He felt sure the odds were with him. He had to go with his gut. That's what heroes do. Fire, he said. Please? The Sky Ripper fired. With a tremendous whoosh, the Emperor's flagship went up in flames. It was awesome. And then he noticed there was a hole in the air. A blackness, like a tear in a parchment. Wind was blowing into it, widening it. It grew larger, and even larger. Crates fell upwards into it, and the world itself seemed bent, like the reflection on a curved mirror, as it poured into the ravenous hole. Ah, 1 in 128. What are the odds? Thought Reynardo, and then everything fell into the hole and was gone. Reynardo stared at the book. He was still alive. Again. And still only flying away from burning Ubar. Had he lived that adventure? Or only dreamt it? Had he really died? It felt so real, not like a dream at all. And he'd lost again. Oh, he hated that. But he had made different choices. And he'd lost in a different way. It was the book, wasn't it? Oracles showed you your destiny. But this was showing him different ways he could die miserably. Thanks a bunch, book, he thought. But these were destinies that he did not have to fulfill. But he'd learn another true thing. The core was powerful, but dangerous if used improperly.
Il y a combien d'histoires différentes? 24. Donc on a 2 vérités encore.
That meant there must be a destiny where he survived and won, right? Otherwise, what was the point? And with that, the book's pages fluttered back once more to the beginning, and the clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced.
Ah, voilà.
Reynardo knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Emperor had brought the Sky Ripper pieces up out of ancient burial by his obscene rituals. Could this be where the Iblis stone was hidden? Someone better get it before he does, thought Reynardo. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Lapino was no game changer, but could Reynardo really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
Écoute, on va arrêter de live. Là, je vais reprendre un autre. Allez, ciao.